Morning students, today we are going to see lesson 9 Fiscal Economics part 2. Explain the methods of debt redemption. What is debt redemption means? The debt which is occurred deals with the methods of raising loans from internal and external sources. The burden, effects and redemption of public debt fall under this head. So this is called explain the methods of debt redemption. Mention any three methods of redemption of public debt. Public debt means deals with the methods of raising loans from internal and external sources. This is done by the government, the public debt. Okay. The process of repaying of public debt, sinking fund. Government creates the public debt means which is created by the government. So the government creates a separate fund and credits a fixed amount of money in it every year. After its maturity, it returns both the principal and interest. Example first introduced in England by Walpole. That is not needed. You will write only the point. That is, government creates a separate fund and credits a fixed amount of money in it every year for repaying the public, to repaying to the public. So it is creating a fund. After its maturity, it returns both the principal and interest, means the interest amount which they got for the capital amount. Conversion means an old loan is converted into a new loan. That high interest public debt is converted into a low interest public debt. For example, if you are getting 1 crore from a bank, isn't it? So in this conversion, first you will get a loan at high interest. Then it is converted into a low interest amount suggested by Dalton. Next one, budgetary surplus. By representing surplus means excess amount of money. Government using the surplus to repay the debt. When there is an excess amount of money from the fiscal policy, that is income and expenditure of the government, with a surplus amount, what the government is getting, budgetary surplus, it will repay the debt to the public. But it is rare only, at times only. Mostly the government won't repay any amount to the public debt, isn't it? Terminal and annuity. Government pays off the public debt on the basis of terminal annuity. Annuity means in terms, in equal annual installments. If they have to pay amount to a present enterprise or entrepreneur to the public, it is the easiest way to pay. Usually we ourselves also, we can't pay in full amount, means we will pay in installment amount, isn't it? So next one, repudiation. Government does not recognize its obligation to repay the loan. It is certainly not paying off loan but destroying it. If the government do like that, it is a lose its credibility. So the government avoids it during normal case. For example, at present situation for the farmers. Reduction in rate of interest. What is reduction in rate of interest? It means compulsory reduction in the rate of interest. For example, you are getting a loan from the bank. You are getting at the interest of 7%. So later they will change it to 3% of interest during the time of financial crisis. So this is called as reduction of rate of interest. This is made by the government to the public. Capital levy. Levy means when the government imposes levy on the capital assets owned by an individual or institution, the surplus fund above a minimum limit is used to repay the debt. Example, repayment of wartime debt obligations. All these debts will be repaid. Explain the principles of federal finance. What is federal finance? Federal finance means the system of assigning source of revenue to the central as well as state government. The system of assigning source of revenue to the central as well as state government. This is called as federal finance. The principle, first one we will see about the principle of independence. The government should normally enjoy autonomy in fiscal matters. Fiscal matters means in the incoming and outgoing, income and expenditure of the government. Each government should have separate sources of revenue. The first revenue is the taxation, isn't it? Authority to levy taxes, to borrow money and to meet the expenditure. It should be free about the internal financial matters concerned. It is given to this instruction is given to the government. Principle of equity. As we saw in the canons of equity, there should be equal distribution of resources among states. So there will be equal distribution of resources means Central government must distribute all the resources equal among all the states. There should be no priority to special states. Principle of uniformity. Each state should contribute equal tax payments for federal finance. That is for the assigning the source for the revenue through tax. Here the taxable capacity of each unit is not the same. Principle of adequacy of resources. The resources of the government should be adequate to carry out its function effectively. The resources mean the natural resources, all the resources which are given by the government must be given to all the states equally, and it must be adequate. The resources of the government should be adequate to carry out its function effectively with reference to their current and future needs. It should be elastic to the growing needs and unforeseen expenditure also. It must be equal to all the states. Principle of fiscal access. Fiscal access means they should have the possibility to develop new source of revenue to meet the growing financial needs. New source means apart from tax, other things also. For toll gate, all these things are there, isn't it? Collecting tax on each and everything. For example, GST is there. So there should be the possibility to develop new source of revenue to meet the growing financial needs. It's made by the government. Principle of integration and coordination. There should be perfect coordination among different layers of the financial system of the country to promote the overall economic development of the country. This decision will be taken by the financial minister. That is, there should be perfect coordination among different layers of the financial system of the country to promote the overall economic development of the country. So, the financial minister will decide a proper tax, then only they will get a proper revenue and they can do any economic development to the country. Principle of efficiency. There should not be scope for evasion and fraud. Evasion means no corruption and nothing, and fraud. Double taxation should be avoided. Double taxation, again and again insisting a person to pay the tax should be avoided. If already a person is taxed, he is paying tax, means again the government must not stress him to pay another one tax. One tax is enough, isn't it? So double taxation should be avoided. Principle of administrative economy. The cost of collection should be at the minimum level. The cost of collection should be at the minimum. What cost of collection? The tax, okay, but must be at the minimum level. Principle of accountability. Each government should be accountable to its own legislature for its financial decisions. That the central to the parliament and the state to the assembly. So each government, the central government should be answerable to the parliament and the state government should be answerable to the assembly. For example, our chief minister, Mr. Edappadi Palaniswamy, must be responsible for answering the state to the assembly. Next, we will see about what are the reasons for the recent growth in public expenditure. Public expenditure means what? What are the government spending for the public? The expenses for the public. What are the government spending expenses for the public? First one, population growth. Massive investment in health and education due to increase in the youth number. So population is increasing, growth increasing. So what the government has to give health and education. At a pandemic period, you know that, isn't it? They are paying more attention to the health due to corona. Many doctors and nurses are servicing for the public. They are supporting the government. Law and order, the police, and transfer payments like pension to the old people. Social security also, the police will come under that. Extra, due to the growth of population, raises the public expenditure. So this is an expense to the government. Public expenditure means what are the expenses spent by the government to the public. Defense expenditure. The rise in defense expenditure due to modernization of defense equipments raises the public expenditure. At present, there is a big war is going between the Pakistanis and India, isn't it? They are always fighting with us. So the country needs a defense expenditure due to modernization of defense equipments. We must have modernized equipments to overcome the opposite country. So they raise the public expenditure. Next one, government subsidies. An increase in government subsidies like food, fertilizers, education, etc. raises the public expenditure. For example, the government gives food to the people. For example, 1 rupee idli is there, all these things are there. fertilizers for the farmers, education for the people, for the students, those who need more higher education, raises the public expenditure. Debt servicing, repayment of internal and external debt is very huge. That raises the public expenditure. Public expenditure means the government is getting some loans from the internal and external sources, so they have to repay the amount. That is called as debt servicing. Development projects. For the purpose of the people, the government will do some development projects such as irrigation, iron and steel, heavy machinery, power, telecommunication, etc. Raises the public expenditure. For all these purposes, the government has to spend some money, isn't it? For irrigation means they must give loan to the farmers. Iron and steel means they must give loan to the industrialists. Heavy machinery means they must give if the government is starting a machinery, industry. Government industry means they need to buy heavy machinery. Power means electricity, isn't it? Telecommunication, how to communicate the people and the government. Raises the public expenditure. So all these will be spending money for the public. Urbanization. Urbanization means the cities, isn't it? Telling the life of city life. The increase in urbanization requires heavy expenditure on law and order means the police and courts, judges. Education and civic communities means the politicians, etc. raises the public expenditure. For all these purposes, they may spend the money, the government. Law and order, they have to pay the police, isn't it? The policeman. So they have to pay for the police for their service. And law, for the judges. All these are paid by the government. Education and civic communities. Lastly, next we will see about the industrialization. Setting up of basic and heavy industries and the development of a strong infrastructure like transport, communication, power, fuel, etc. raises the public expenditure. That is, if a state is there, if Tamil Nadu is there, it must be coming uplifted in the industrialization. So there must be a support by the government to the industrialists to bring up the transport, communication, power, fuel, etc. raises the public expenditure. Increase in grants in aid to state and union territory. If there is any natural disaster, the tremendous increase in grants in aid to state and union territories to meet the natural disasters raises the public expenditure. That is, if there is a storm or flood, what is happening? It is an expense to the government. They have to give food, they have to save the people, they have to give medical camps to people. So all these are increase in grants in aid to state and union territories. The tremendous increase in grants, aid to state and union territories to meet natural disasters raise the public expenditures. These are the public expenditures arise by the government. So with this we will stop in this class and we will continue in the next class. Thank you children. God bless you.